I'm Jo Barclay-Logie. In a previous tutorial I showed you how to do some basic netting so that you end up with a cuff or a choker that looks a little like that, which is absolutely beautiful in its own right. But right now I'm going to show you how to embellish that netting. So where all those diamond hole shapes are, we're going to pop some extra sparkle in there to make it a bit more special. So for example, here's a cuff with a bit of netting, that's the back of it. And if I flip it over, you should be dazzled by the sparkle from the Swarovski crystals. So on this side, apart from the lacy edging, you don't see too much of the netting. Yet on the flip side, the netting is really evident. So we're going to learn how to do some embellishing today.
Right, here are my examples for you, just to show you the variety that you can use to embellish your pieces. In this top dainty one here, I've used tiny little seed pearls. I don't know if you can even pick them out, they're pink, with some seed beads. In this one, I've used some 3mm crystals. I've used a variety of different colors of them and made like a mosaic checkerboard pattern. And I've actually filled in the top loops where we turn around. I will post a link to the ordinary netting tutorial at the base of this one, just so that if you haven't learned how to do netting, which is that part on that side, you can learn how to do it before you do the fun part of embellishing it. On this one you can see I've left the edges clear, so it's got a bit of a lacy edge, and I've used some 4mm Swarovski crystals. And here I've gone to town with fire polish and I have filled in the lacy corners that you turn in your netting. I've got my length of netting completed and I've measured it around my wrist to make sure that it's long enough, allowing for a clasp either end. And we're going to embellish today using 4mm Swarovski bicones, and I've got some size 11 seed beads here. Each time I embellish with a crystal, I'm going to pop a size 11 seed bead either side of the crystal. Crystal is renowned for cutting through thread, and this just gives it a little bit of extra protection. By popping a size 11 either side of the crystal, it just protects that thread a little bit more. So you're either going to add a new piece of thread, or you're going to be using the thread that's left over once you've completed all your netting, and you want to work your way through the beads until you are exiting the 8 that is at the base of that very first diamond. That diamond shape is very clear to see now, that open diamond shape. So I'm going to pull my needle through. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hopping straight across the center of that diamond to the next 8. Now because I've used all the same colors here, it's not quite as easy to see them, but I have used the 2 different sizes. So I'm going to be going through the 8s. The 11s make up the sides of the diamond and the 8s are the points. So I'm going to pick up an 11, then a crystal, and then another 11, and I'm going to pass my needle straight through the 8 at the top of that first diamond. And you can see how that sits really neatly in that little diamond. I now need to work my way through the beads so that I'm exiting from this 8 to fill in this next diamond here. So I'm actually going to go around to the left a little bit. So I'm going to work my way through the beads, through those 11s, through the 8, and then through those 11s that make the corner loop of my first turn, And again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about with the corner loop of the first term, have a look at that initial tutorial on netting. So I'm coming through those 3, and I'm now going to pass the needle through the 8. And I'm ready now to embellish this next diamond shape. So I'm going to come right across the middle here to the 8 below it. And I'm going to do that by picking up an 11, a crystal and an 11, and I come straight through that 8. I now need to work my way around so that my needle is exiting through this 8, ready to embellish this diamond shape here. So you can see how the diamond shapes are slightly staggered. So again, I'm going to pass the needle through the 11s and through that 8. I have to go slightly backwards to go forwards. So pull your thread through, and then I'm going through the 3 11s at the base of my work, which was another turn. Sorry, I'm just turning it slightly so that I can get the angle right. And then I'll pop it back in position. And up through that 8. And we're ready to embellish again. So I'm going to pick up an 11, a Swarovski crystal, and an 11. And I'm filling in this diamond shape, so I'm going straight across to the 8 at the top. And remember, I have to go slightly backwards in order to go forwards. So I'm going to work my way through the beads, because if you stick to going through the beads, you're not going to have any excess thread showing. So I'm going through those. Then across the top 3, and down through the next 8. So far I've got 3 of my little diamond shapes embellished. So if I flip that over, you can see the netting is still as it was on the other side, but I'm starting to fill it in and embellish on this side. I'm going to pick up an 11, a crystal and an 11, and pop straight across to that 8 to fill in that side. And I'm going to come slightly backwards in order to go forwards. Through the 3 that make the loop at the bottom, and up through the 8, and I'm ready to go again. So pick up your 3 beads. Now you could be using much smaller beads like I showed you. I used 3mm crystals. You could just use an 11, a size 8 seed bead and an 11. It all depends on the space that you've got to play with in your diamond shape as to what you can use here. So I'm going to pull that through. And remember, in order to go forwards, you've got to go backwards a little bit. Then through these 3 at the top. I've only gone through 2 there. Through 1 more. And then coming back down through the 8. And skip across your diamond shape to the other 8. And so you would continue the whole way along your netting until you had finished. Now, as I showed you in the examples before, I have sometimes filled in this little lacy bit at the end, and all I would do then is pick up the same beads. So you can see that I'm at a point in my beadwork where I'm ready to fill in the edge there. And I would just go through the middle of those 3 that formed the loop at the bottom. Now this is going to look a bit strange because I haven't been filling in the lacy edge all the way, but this is just to show you how to do it. If you wanted the whole piece of netting encrusted in crystals, can you see how that's filled that little gap, that lacy bit there? And then you're ready to actually just come through your 8 and continue. And you do the same at the top end. When you exit through this 8, you'd pick up your 3 beads. In fact, let's do it now just to show you. So through the 8, and I'd pick up my 3 beads. This is to embellish one of the little diamond shapes of netting that we created earlier. Straight across through the 8 at the top. And now instead of going backwards a little bit in order to come round the top and go forwards, we're going to fill in this little top bit. So this is only if you want to have a fully embellished piece of netting. So I've picked up my 3 beads and I'm going to come through the middle one at the top there. Not get my thread tangled up like I have. And you can see how that has closed off that little lacy bit that we had before. So it's up to you. You can either just bead through the middle where you see those diamonds, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or you can take your embellishment right to the edges as I've just shown you and fill in all those lacy bits there. And then you're finished once you've got to the end, and you'll have a beautifully embellished cuff bracelet or choker necklace to wear. Thanks for watching. Bye.